Hey, Uka. You coming to sit beside Mum? You coming to sit beside me? No, I know. You're holding on. Hi, gorgeous boy. Now you can be gentle. Be gentle. Yeah. You're so... Look at this dog. You're so clingy. Be a gorgeous boy. All right. All right. You said nice, right? You said nice. You ready? Okay. Right, you ready? I'm going to start. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Laaleebee. I'm joined with Henry, the very needy schnoz. He's just got no chill today. You don't, puppy. So he's just going to be hanging here for a little while. Hopefully he'll keep quiet. Long time no see. Do I look like I'm falling? It's taken me a wee while to set this up, and it's not the best setup, but I knew I wanted to film a little video because it has been about a month. Life's been busy. What's been going on, Hen? So I've been doing a lot of work. I had a big deadline, and it kind of took precedent, didn't it, Hen? So yeah, I met that deadline last Wednesday, and then I just kind of have been trying to take it easy, and knitting has really gone out the window. Let me just adjust a little bit. No. Yeah, knitting's gone out the window. While I was busy with work. Can you be gentle, please? So what have I been up to? In March, all of March, pretty much. Neil and I went to the cottage for a couple of days, which was lovely and relaxing, and I don't really remember too much of it because as soon as I came home, I was straight into work for this big deadline. So, yeah, I had a couple of relaxing days in the middle of it all. We just went up to the north coast of Northern Ireland, and it was lovely. We love going there. It's kind of our happy place. And Henry was very relaxed this time, which he's not a relaxed type of dog, you know. He's a bit high maintenance, aren't you? Yeah. So yeah, we did that. From working away on this project, and I went to my first knitting class at Hank's Yarn Parlour. Casey taught us how to steek. So we knit a little cup holder and steeked it in the class. It's just nice to, like, it was right in the middle of working on this stuff, and I really was isolated. Didn't see any friends, didn't see any family, wasn't talking, and work was just taking over. And so it was nice to get out for those couple of hours just to hang out with other knitters and to learn something new and try something different. So that was nice. So yeah, I packed my knitting stuff up to show you at least a week and a half ago. And I haven't really knit on anything since then, which is crazy because I usually knit every day. Been doing a little bit on my What the Fade shawl, but not a huge amount. Just haven't been knitting. So, I actually have socks in the other room that I should show, but I'll show them next time. Which will not be in a month, it will be sooner than that. So yeah, it's a bit of a mystery what's in these bags. Because, and I have yarn downstairs that I'll show that next time too. So yeah, it's a bit of a mystery what's in these bags they've been in. So yeah, let me get started. This wee fidgety boy is very distracting because he's very cute. Okay, what have we got here? What have we got in these bags? Well, two exciting things. And I'm so disorganised. Oh, I do have both of them. Okay, Natalie, get your brain engaged. First, I have 3 FOs. 3 finished objects here. Can you believe? Can you believe? Some of these things have been on my needles for months and months and months. And I am so glad that they're off my needles now. Haven't sewn in ends. Haven't blocked anything. I finished it and was like, I'm done. So, sewing in the ends and blocking is a whole other project. Be now gentle while I show this, alright? This, my first finished object, I finished while I was at the cottage. Da-da-la, is my diaphanous raglan. It's finished. She's gentle. She's done. Oh, please excuse my grubby wall behind me. Gross. Diaphanous raglan by Jessie May Designs. Knit in Beehive Yarns, mohair, and merino her sock yarn. Not the singles, her sock yarn. So this is the sock yarn and the mohair held together, and then this is the mohair on its own. And the colourway is tulle, like a ballerina skirt. It's gorgeous. Let me tell you, I will not be knitting with mohair on its own ever again. Because I did not enjoy it. It was just not for me, you know? But love that I've got it done. But my god, I hated these sleeves. Maybe I would do it again. Jessie May has 4 different sleeves in her pattern. And these are obviously the biggest sleeves. The longest ones with the most knitting. She also has like a bell sleeve, which doesn't taper in. And then she has 2 short sleeve options, and one of them is a little flutter, which would be very cute. So I think maybe I would do a flutter in just mohair. But I'm not knitting something this size again. I just didn't. Maybe I just wasn't in the form for it, but I struggled. I like to knit without looking, and I do that by feeling where the stitches are on my needles, and I couldn't feel where they were using the mohair. So it slowed me down, and you don't want to be slow when you're on Sleeve Island. But I'm delighted that it's done. And perfect timing for it as well. So it's my first finished object. Beautiful. It's a lovely pattern. I think I'll knit it again without mohair, maybe with a silk. Would be nice. I did get 100% silk from Skein Queen, mulberry silk, and it is beautiful. It's lace weight as well. So that would be lovely actually with the little flutter sleeves. That's an idea. Oh, I should say, I bought 3 skeins of mohair and 2 skeins of finger and weight yarn, all 100 grams. No, 100 grams for the finger and weight yarn, 50 grams each for the mohair. And I used 2 skeins of mohair and only 1 skein of finger and weight. I think I knit probably the 2x in that. Yeah, 100, so what, 400 yards of finger weight yarn and 800 yards of mohair. Pretty good. Or 400 yards of mohair, I don't know. My brain. Still not really recovered from all the work. But yeah, I had a skein of each left over, which is very nice. It's very nice. That's gone back into my stash. Very good. Very good, Henry. Next finished object. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe me when I show you this. My next finished object is my Birkin jumper, my second Birkin that I've knit. Look, proof. She's got 1 sleeve, 2 sleeves. So this, the colourwork's knit out of scraps that I just had, little bits of whatever in my stash. And the main colour is Giddy Aunt Yarns in They're blackcurrant jam. I've knit this pattern before. First time I knit it was in Brooklyn Tweed in their finger weight. Is it called Loft? And love that. This is all superwash, so very different feel. And I haven't blocked it yet, so the colour work just kind of looks scrappy, like I'd finished it. But yeah, part of me wishes I'd done these in green, but not enough to go in and duplicate stitch green over them. I'll just have to accept that they're yellow, but they would have been nice green. Anyway, second jumper off the needles. Who even am I? Who even am I? Anyway, so I have another 2 jumpers on the needles that I talked about last time. The 2 raglans. I think I'm going to pull both of them off, you know. Haven't decided yet, but I think I'm going to frog them. Only because one of the yarns, don't know if you remember, I had a scrappy one that was like purple and pinks and like a kind of toffee colour, and the toffee colour is beautifully tonal, but the rest of them aren't. They're very solid colours, and it's very obvious that they're solid colours, and it would be far nicer if they were all tonal and had some kind of interest to them. And I haven't picked it up in a month, and I think that's a good sign that it's not working for me. So maybe I'll do the same colour scheme in a colourwork pattern and choose a different main colour. It might be nice in like a dark grey. So yeah, I'm saving my pennies at the minute for a little sweater quantity of yarn. So that'll go on the back burner. I think I'll pull that out. But yeah, I've got 2 sweaters off the needles. Okay, so my last finished object is a little pair of socks that I knit in March. Meant to put these in the Grocery Girls knit along, but I forgot. And it's now the 3rd of April, so I forgot. Oh well. But I did knit these in March. These are just vanilla socks with an afterthought heel, knit in West Yorkshire Spinners. I don't know what the colourway is, I can't remember. But it makes me think of swimming pools. Doesn't this feel like this is like the vibe of swimming pools? Maybe that's just me. But I just knit tubes and then cut the heels in. I did the heels over 60 stitches rather than the 30. Well, no, what am I saying? Whenever you cut heels in, usually you do half of your stitches, which for me would be 32 stitches. But I actually wanted to do more so that I had a girthier kind of heel, so I cut it over 40 stitches, so it just makes it a bit deeper, which means there's more room for my heel, because I just find the other 32 stitches across just isn't enough, and I need a little bit more. It does add length on, so you might need a little bit of finagling with that, but that's how I knit this sock, and it fits pretty well. This is my little sock rolls. Yeah. So what have I got whips wise? I have a pair of Coffee Talk socks that I cast on last month, and can't remember if I showed you them. I think I was planning to cast them on, so I did cast them on. I've got one done and I'm on the second one, but it's taken a back burner. I really haven't been knitting anything. My brain just hasn't been there, which is not very like me, but I'll get back to it eventually. Yes, so how do we dig around? Let's see what else is in these bags. So I have a crochet project that I did actually work a good bit on at the start of March. I think at that point I was so I was basically working on a grant application, and there were different stages of applying for that, and part of it was actually coming up with the idea for the project. I'd already had the idea, but it was trying to articulate the idea in the most succinct way possible. And it required a lot of different kind of deep thinking and a different kind of work. And when that was happening, I couldn't really hack knitting patterns for some reason. I knit those vanilla socks, and then I couldn't knit any other kind of sock, and I got bored of the vanilla sock, so I picked up this crochet project that I've had languishing. And it is the complete opposite of a vanilla sock because it's the most complicated thing I've ever done. This is the Sophie's Universe blanket. I think maybe I've shown this before. It was up to this round bit, and in March I squared it off. There's quite a lot of crochet in this. Now, I would consider myself to be a beginner crocheter. Holding this up, this does not look like a beginner crochet pattern, but my experience of crochet, I started with crochet first before I started getting back into knitting, and I crocheted a lot of blankets, and they were kind of DK weight blankets. They were the Attic 24 blankets, which would come in big kits of colour crafter, acrylic yarn, but the like colour scheme would be there for you, and you would follow. It was like crochet along, but not in the same way a knit along goes. So with the knit alongs, you tend to get different instructions each time. With the blankets that I was doing, you had one stitch pattern, and every week she would release the order of colours that you were supposed to do, and that was what incentivized you to finish it. So I crocheted a couple of big blankets. I think I did the cupcake one, which was just granny stripes and plain double crochet stripes. And then I did another one, I think it was called the Moors blanket, that I gave to my gran. And then I did do a Sophie's Universe. I did the first part of it. I didn't really finish very much of it. I got into doing some different granny squares, like with the florals and things. And then I picked up knitting and didn't look back. So, you know, I've had my little crochet granny square blanket on the go. Well, I also had this as a kind of challenge to myself. And the great thing about this pattern is that it's free. 2, there are photo tutorials for the whole thing, and there are also video tutorials. So if you get stuck, you really have somebody holding your hand the whole way through it, which is the only reason I've been able to do this much. Crochet is more difficult than knitting, 100%. With knitting, you know where all your stitches are, pretty much. Yes, you might have to pick up stitches and whatever, but with crochet, you have to find every stitch and make sure you're going into every stitch correctly. So it's important. Maybe you know in knitting we talk about how you have to read your knitting in order to, like if you're following a pattern, to make sure that you're on track, you learn to read your knitting, so you can just look at your knitting and see if you've gone off or not. Well, in crochet you really have to read your crochet from the start. You need to know where you're going and what it should look like. So the photo tutorials really help, but I have been working away on this. I've since set it down because it was a very small window of time where I could concentrate on something this complicated, and then it went out the window. But I'm crocheting this with the Shepya's Whirl. This one is called Candyman, Cotton Candyman. It's a gradual fade, which is lovely because otherwise every row is a different colour, and the amount of ends that I would have had to weave in would have been absolutely grim, and not for me. So yeah, it's apparently going to take 3 of these. This is my first one. My local yarn store, Folklore, actually carries these. So usually when I pick up a project like this, I buy all the yarn that I need. But with this kind of project, I knew it didn't have to be in the same dye lot, and I would feel more pressure if 3 cakes of it were sitting there. It's nice that it's just one cake and I can go in and get the next one when I'm ready for it. It just feels a bit more of a mindful project, which I quite like. So I got some good progress on that. They're probably going to go back in my cupboard for a little while until I get the urge to crochet again. So yeah, impressed with myself. It's going to end up being a tiny blanket. Maybe by the time I finish it, there'll be a baby in our family to give it to. So what else have I got here? Let me dig through. Oh, right. I have a little bag of things that I need to do to socks, whether it's mending or sewing in ends. And I thought I would show you what it looks like. So I need to sew the ends in of these ones. That's so terrible. I need to sit and actually just properly do it. Because I knit these ages ago and I still haven't worn them because I haven't sewn the ends in. And it's the smallest step. So ends are being sewn in. I don't even think I've photographed those from my Ravelry, which I need to do. These I knit ages ago. They're the only 3, are they 3? 1, 2, 3. 3x1 rib socks that I have. And I only did that on the leg. You can tell I've been through the wash a lot because the colour's completely faded. I can't remember when I knit these, but I did spot, yeah, they're starting to come undone, so I need to just sew those up, tidy up that little hole. So that's on my to-do list. And these boys also need their ends sewn in. I haven't worn these because there's one line that's really tight in these, and it's annoying. So maybe I will give them to somebody who doesn't need just as much stretch as that. I've just held one of the strands too tight, which is why it's really important to make sure that your colour work is nice and loose the whole way through. I've obviously just not for this one row, so that's annoying. I might end up giving those away. They're so cute though, aren't they? I think this is the Spellbound colour by Biff Sugar. No, Spellbound's Giddy Ants, but this is a Biff Sugar colour, I think. Yeah, it is. Got it with Chloe. It's on the podcast. Then, right, okay. This is why I wanted to share these with you. So, I would say I'm quite an experienced sock knitter now. And you may recognise these beautiful little socks that I knit. And I had them in a little bag because I needed to sew in all my ends. And I sat and sewed the ends in one. And then I thought, oh, I can't be bothered sewing the rest of my ends in. I'll just tie them and snip them. Well, let's see if you can spot the difference in what I did. Oh, you can't really tell there. Guess which one I just tied and which one I sewed the ends in for. This is the tied. And maybe you can't really see the gaping hole, but let me just show you how bad that is. No. Natalie, what were you thinking? So bad, like kind of irreparable, just terrible the whole way along. So I think I'm gonna have to reknit them. Is it worth, because it's colour work as well, it's not even one colour, I couldn't just take a strand of yarn and kind of mattress stitch it. It's colour work, so you will see, you maybe would see it. I think I might have to reknit them because I love the pattern, I love the colour. It's a little mini set from Botanical Yarn with a Coop Knits colour. This one's fine, I think, but if my tension is off, I don't know, I'm going to knit at least one more, see if it matches this, and then get rid of this, because that's lesson learned. Don't just tie off your ends. Sew them in, especially when you've taken that long to knit a colourwork sock. I'm not impressed with myself at all. Not impressed. So that's my little bag of to-dos. And now I've added 2 jumpers of ends to weave in to that. That's exciting. So what else is in my bag? I have a skein of yarn downstairs that is my what am I trying to say? My Beehive Yarns Club colourway for March is downstairs. Just got it in the post the other day, because she ships it at the end of every month. But it's downstairs, and I'm not going down to get it. So I shall show you. I don't even think I've shown you February's. Maybe I have, but I'll show you again. February's this is the Simple Pleasures Yarn Club by Beehive Knits. No, Beehive Yarns. And the word of February was ritual, and that was her inspo picture. And this is the yarn. It's like she looked at a skein of yarn and went, "This is Natalie. Let's put Natalie into a skein of yarn." Gold stellina, so it's nice and sparkly, and I love it so much, so much. And I'm really glad I'm filming this, because then I can cast it on. Although it feels too special to be just socks. I feel like she's going to be in a shawl of some kind, but I'm not casting on another shawl until I get my What the Fade off my needles. I'm on the last 3 colours of it, so slowly but surely getting there. But she's definitely going to have to make her way into a shawl, I think. Gorgeous. Absolutely love. I love this club. It's not very often I get clubs. I did get a Hedgehog Fibres club when I first started getting into knitting and indie dyed yarn. Hedgehog Fibres is pretty pricey, and their colours are out there, more out there than I am. Whereas I love the aesthetic of Beehive Yarns. I love her colour sense, and I've been really happy with every skein I've got so far. The one downstairs is beautiful, but you'll have to wait till next time to see it. That kind of lets people get theirs before I spoil it on the podcast. So I have that. And then I put a little... I was very good last month in that I didn't go wild with yarn buying. But I did put a little order in with Lonely Mountain Yarns, which is a local to me dyer, hand dyed in Northern Ireland. I think she's actually based in Belfast. And I got 2 sock sets. Love that she's doing sock sets. I love seeing other dyers put minis with their variegated yarns. It's one less thing for me to think about. And I know it'll make one pair of socks with very few leftovers, which is what I'm aiming for. So I got 2 colours. I got one that's a little bit out there for me, and one that is very me. This one I couldn't resist. It's called Lobster Pot, and it's just the Little Mermaid in a skein. And if you don't know, Little Mermaid is my favourite movie, and has been since I was able to sing along to Ariel. So I got that. I thought that was nice and summery, and I don't really have anything like this really. So I thought that was a good addition to my stash. That'll definitely be a little pair of summery socks. Love this blue. Her tonals are gorgeous. She's really great at tonals. Did you see her Lord of the Rings sets that she brought out? Or collection that she brought out? I have a complicated relationship with the Lord of the Rings because my sister Jess is obsessed with Lord of the Rings. She has been in love with Orlando Bloom and Legolas specifically since she was no age. And she has forced me to watch not just all 3, at the time it was just 3 movies because The Hobbit hadn't been out. She would make me watch all 3 movies repeatedly, But not only would we watch those, she would sneakily put on the director's like extended cut. So the movies were like 3.5 hours each. And it just wasn't for me. I like when they're in the shower, and that's about it. Jess is obsessed. And also Tolkien was a medievalist. So really, it's very strange that I don't like that I'm not into Lord of the Rings, but I'm not. I'm really not. But I showed Jess the collection, and Jess was smitten with them. She got each character perfectly in that yarn. So yeah, Jess approves. But anyway, I did not buy any Lord of the Rings yarn. But I should have really bought the Legolas one for Jess. If she runs it again. And I think she might, because it was very popular. If she runs it again, I'll get the Legolas one for Jess and knit those up for her. But no, lobster pot is one set, and then the other little sock set you'll not be surprised at all to see is called Bouquet, and it's Natalie in a skein again. Gorgeous and soft, and I can't wait to cast this on too. But I feel like this needs a nice pattern, and I've knit the Coffee Talk socks a lot, so I need to knit a different pattern. But I just knit what I love, you know. Gorgeous. Love this tonal. I would wear a jumper in that tonal. It's beautiful. And I love her little her little tags. So that's my yarn purchases for last month. And then what I've been doing is I went through my stash and I counted up all my skeins. And I'm trying to use up more than I am putting away. Does that make sense? I'm trying to use my yarn faster than I am buying it right now because I've got crazy amounts. So the way I did it was I counted all of my 100-gram skeins as one. And if there were 50-gram skeins, I counted them as half, unless it was a sock set, and then I counted that as one because it's going to be one object. So I counted all that up. I split my minis and my kind of leftover skeins. Anything over 20 grams. Was it over 20 grams? Or was it over 30 grams? Anything over 30 grams I counted as a half skein. And anything under 30 grams but over 10, I counted as a mini skein for socks. And then anything under 10 is going into my crochet blanket, and it wasn't counted. So that's how I sorted out my stash and my scraps. And I put it all in my bullet journal. The bullet journal is out of reach. So I had a lot. I need to total up. I haven't totaled up the final numbers for March either, so I'll do that. I'll report back next time. Hopefully I can get those numbers down a little bit. But as I was doing that, I love just going into my stash and like pulling different colours together. And Botanical Yarn was releasing a lot of mini skein sets and her mini egg set as well. And I love mini eggs and I love the colours and I love the mini skein sets from Botanical Yarns. But I had bought 2 if not 3 mini skein sets last Easter that are very similar. So, and I have leftovers from those. So I pulled them out and I pulled out like my leftover like minis and have put together 3 little mini sets that I can knit some Eastery socks out of. So the first set I have, I cannot remember who dyed these. I have a feeling one was Bird Street Yarn, and one was either Pixie Yarn or Botanical Yarns. I can't remember which. But they're all mixed up anyway. Because, you know, I'm sure I put it on my Instagram last year, which I used, so it doesn't really matter. You can get them right now. But these are my scraps that I put together. So the first set is this. This is definitely a mini egg colour from a mini egg Easter set. So I just put those together. They're nice and speckly, and I think they'll be cute little Easter socks. They might not all be for me. We will see. Amy's birthday's coming up, although I don't know if I'll have time to knit her a pair of socks, but maybe. Amy's turned into a goth, so I don't know if she'll want pastel socks, but maybe they'll remind her of me. And then my second little set, which is very similar looking, but a bit maybe richer in colour, is this set. So they're both very similar. But I had all these minis sitting about, and I was like, no, you need to knit with these. You can't just have them sitting, not being used. So it's all my minis. I'm gonna knit a couple of pairs of socks, probably just striped vanilla socks. But now that I've shown you them, I can cast them on. And then I found the mini set, which is a botanical yarn mini set from last year. So I can knit my little chevron socks again. So I put those in a bag with the hope of maybe picking it up and knitting it. I might just end up knitting them all over again. I don't know. I love those socks. I'm so cross with myself for tying those knots and not just sewing it in properly. Because of course I tied them and then trimmed it really close. So it's not like I can undo the knots and like just sew them in. They're gone. Not impressed with myself. But that's everything I have to show you. I feel like I sped through that. So what is on my needles at the minute? I have a pair of socks. And that's it. And the What the Fade shawl. And that is it. I'm going to pull those jumpers off. I think those two were the last long standing jumpers I had on my needles. So what are my plans for April? I'm off over Easter. But I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I think I'll just cast on a jumper. My next jumper I think will be a sorrel. A spring sorrel by Wool & Pine. I've already knit 2 of those. I have yarn in like a red and pink fade from Pixie Yarn in DK that would be perfect for it. I had initially bought that for a shawl, but it would make another spring sorrel. I love that top. I love wearing it. So I think that's probably going to be a cast on in the near future, but I'm not itching to cast anything on right now, which is very unlike me. Yeah, like I can't even really be bothered to cast on those vanilla socks. My knitting mojo is gone, which is kind of good that I have my What the Fade shawl then, because it is just, I really don't have to think about that. So maybe that I'll just keep trucking on with that until I get my mojo back, and then I can cast on all the things. I don't want to skein up my beautiful skeins from Lonely Mountain Yarns until I'm like inspired to knit with them. So they'll probably sit there for a little while. Just looking around to see what else I have. I think that's everything from me. Sorry the thing is going to be a bit wonky today. Sorry, Henry was so noisy. He's now snoozing. Completely out of it. And of course I've messed with the thing and now it's not gonna go back to where it was. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. Please forgive the long absence. Hopefully it's back to normal now, and hopefully I'll have a little bit of knitting mojo back. And